For the record, my name is Brian Wendt, Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. The Prosecuting Attorney is here to help facilitate this conversation following an executive session that occurred on August 16th, 2016. The Board of County Commissioners had reflected an inclination to consider repealing Ordinance 909, which was adopted at the end of July of this year. In order to repeal said ordinance, the Collin County Charter, as well as the language of the emergency ordinance, contemplates a public process to do just that. So that's what this is. This is an opportunity for the Board of County Commissioners to hear from the public the pros and the cons considering the proposed repealing ordinance.
Any questions of Brian or Steve or Mary Ellen? Do you guys have anything you want to add?
The only comment, Steve Gray, planning manager, that the department would indicate that we have two hearings today. Of course, the second one is interim official control, which can be up to 6 months. And I'll staff report on that. But essentially, the ordinance, the emergency ordinance currently in place is only effective, will automatically expire in 61 days. So if the county wants to extend interim controls, we'd have to hold a public hearing like we're having today, and we can extend those up to 6 months. So if you're concerned with the repeal of the emergency ordinance, just bear in mind the second hearing is interim control to essentially put a size limit on buildings in those rural zones for up to 6 months while the department works with the planning commission to provide a recommendation to the board for permanent controls. So we have two hearings. Both are kind of address the same issues. It's probably a little confusing. The first one is to repeal the emergency ordinance. The second one is essentially to adopt interim controls up to 6 months on building sites in those same zones.
Any other questions? Any other statements? So, there's no objection. We'll open the public hearing to consider an ordinance repealing Ordinance 909. We have 6 people signed up to testify. The first is Diane Hood.
My name is Diane Hood, and I represent myself and my husband, Donald Myers, who is the retired subdivision coordinator of Calhoun County Planning Department. And I just want to state that the county has failed our neighborhood. The county recommended and received a 60-day emergency ordinance that limits the building size in rural areas to stop the construction of a bed and breakfast on East Squim Bay Road. The current county code does not include square feet limitations. The buyer from out of state assumed that he would have no trouble building in compliance with the current county codes and ordinances. Our neighborhood has the reverse problem. We thought the county codes and ordinances would protect us, but it failed. Calhoun County Hearing Examiner William Payne and the Planning Department approved a 150-foot radio cell tower at 686 Brigadoon with 3 19 to 23-foot radio antennas at the top and possibly 4 cell company attachments with their antenna arrays at 129, 119, and 109 feet, which will be highly visible as existing trees are about 67 feet tall. It should never have been approved. A conditional use permit and a variance were required, since 150-foot cell towers are not allowed in this NC zone. The proposed tower will have an irreversible adverse impact on the surrounding land uses. This is allowing commercial and residential. We are currently appealing the decision. The appraisal journal states that the price of properties were reduced by around 21% after cell towers were built in the neighborhood. The main proponents of the cell tower in our neighborhood are Radio Pacific Incorporated, the original applicant, owned by Brown Maloney of KCQM, Ken Hayes, agent architect, former City of Swim mayor and city council who resigned during our hearing. Shirley Chemslin, the property owner, her son is the City of Squim's utility manager, and Byron Gunnarsson, consultant, the previous vice president of Western Road Region T-Mobile. Did the prominence of these people in our community affect the decision in our neighborhood? At this time, I would like to make a request. The existing county ordinance 703 of January 23rd, 2001, signed by Mike Chapman, states there shall be a minimum cell towers of 1,000 feet from schools, public parks, and historic places. Shouldn't our residents be given equal protection since we are in them up to 24 hours a day? I recommend that the existing ordinance be reviewed and changed to include residences, or that a new ordinance be created. There is a definite need at this time to update wireless and commercial codes. And I'm sorry, it's sort of related to this issue because it bothered me what was happening in this circumstance. Thank you.
Francisco de la Cruz.
Francisco de la Cruz, 238 Rhapsody, Swim. I'm here just for myself and my wife. I'm concerned about the legal points, and I'm not an attorney, but I'm concerned about all the legal machinations that have been going on, especially with this particular ordinance, because it's being repealed in response to, I think, a tort filing, which means that somebody's gonna say, I'm gonna take you to court and take money from you. So at the last meeting where another ordinance that's kind of sort of related to this was discussed, Mr. Chapman asked, has there been legal review of this? And unfortunately, the answer was yes, it had been legally reviewed, but yet it still got in front of you and got considered. So I'm really concerned about the quality of legal representation that we're receiving in this particular matter. And I'm asking the commissioners to consider, perhaps in some of their emergency budget allocation discussions, to set aside some dollars for outside legal counsel that can serve the needs of the citizens of the county, not necessarily just the needs of the county itself. Because it seems like we're not getting the kind of legal representation on land use that we really sorely need here. Not just in this particular ordinance, but we can start going through a number of other ordinances and start finding the kinds of similar holes that the attorney last time was able to do in a very short space of about 10 minutes. He tore up one sentence. And if we have to get to the point where we define that a disturbance is in excess of 65 decibels for an excess of 10 minutes, 25 feet away from your boundary, to make it clear to somebody that they're creating a disturbance, then maybe that's where we need to go. But it was very easy for y'all to back away once we were threatened with potential legal action. I'm wondering how much defense is the county willing to put up if this particular issue of 695 East Swim Bay Road goes from denial of permit to appeals board to hearings examiner and ends up in Superior Court. Are we going to be left with, oops, sorry. So I'll ask you to consider, when you do this, are we doing it in such a way that we don't create ourselves further legal problems down the road? Has the attorney's office looked at it and given you the advice necessary to say, yeah, this is the most risk-free action we can take, or as much as we can afford to do at this point in time? I don't have the confidence that we're at that point yet, and I ask you to seriously give that consideration. Thank you.
Joanne Alstrom.
Mr. Dillon, you spoke now on the issue, so thank you very much.
Jean Alderson.
I pass at this time. Thank you.
Jean Madsen.